Hey everybody, welcome back to Ghostdogs at Moon Lake, Part 6. And I'm going to head over to the ranger station, see if I can gather some more new information. Yeah, it's been a while since I played this game, so thought I'd get into it, back into it. Hey, buddy.
Good news. I have information on your mystery woman.
You are incredible, Ranger Akers. What did you find out?
Her name these days is Vivian Whitmore. She lives in Las Vegas, and her number is 702-555-9137.
Sorry to bother you again, but did those results from the water test come in yet?
There's something here for you from the State Department of Health.
Oh my gosh, not only is the water bad, but it seems like the well may have been contaminated deliberately.
Wow, arsenic. That's not good.
I wouldn't go jumping to conclusions without proof, Ms. Drew. I'm sure there's a far less melodramatic explanation.
What do you know about a man named Joe Akers?
Why do you ask?
I understand he used to be the deputy here.
So?
According to Emily Griffin, Deputy Joe Akers was your father, and according to the journal I found, William Akers' son was named Joe. Another coincidence?
All right, all right. William Akers was my grandfather.
And you don't want anyone to know that.
It's not exactly something I'm proud of. My father spent his whole life trying to make people forget what my grandfather was, and trying to make sure people who didn't know what he was never found out. I've been doing the same thing.
Did William Akers ever say anything about the cemetery behind Malone's house?
I'm afraid you're going to have to excuse me, Miss Drew. In case you've forgotten, I'm a very busy man.
Well, he's hiding something.
I apologize for my previous behavior. As a park ranger, I strive to keep my personal feelings in check at all times, and that time I failed. It's my duty as a public servant to try to make it up to you. What would you like to know?
Did your grandfather ever find any gold on Malone's property?
If he did, he never spent it. He wasn't poor when he died, but he certainly wasn't rich.
What can you tell me about the gold that Malone supposedly buried on his property?
As far as I know, it doesn't exist. It's just one of those rumors people want to believe, so they do.
Thanks for all your help.
Always a pleasure. Hello there.
Thanks for all your help.
Not a problem.
Hello there. Not a problem. Okay, head back home. Gonna make some phone calls here, get some more information. I'm trying to get information on the speakeasy. I want to get in there. So I'm going to call this Vivian lady.
If If you're selling something, hang up right now. I got an air horn in my hand that could deafen a dinosaur, and I'm not afraid to use it.
Oh, no, please. I'm not selling anything. Believe me. Is this Vivian Whitmore?
Maybe it is, maybe it isn't. You got exactly 5 seconds to state your business.
My name is Nancy Drew. I'm calling from Moon Lake, Pennsylvania. I just wanted to ask you some questions.
Oh, right. The Moon Lake Park Ranger said you might call. But you have to talk fast. An old friend of mine is flying in today from Florida. And when I say old, I mean old, as in 5 years older than I am. Don't bother trying to do the math, sweet stuff. You'll hurt yourself. So, that ranger fella said you found an old picture of me.
It was of you and Mickey Malone. Do you remember him?
Of course I remember him. I remember everything about that time of my life. It was the roaring 20s, for crying out loud. One of the most exciting decades in American history. Just because I've got a few years on most people doesn't mean my brain's turned to tapioca, sweet stuff.
Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to offend you.
Mickey and I dated for 5 years. Oh, I knew what he was, and I didn't approve, believe you me. But I was young, and we got along so well, and he was so considerate. He always kept birch beer on tap at that speakeasy of his just for me.
Do you know anything about the safe that's in the cellar of his house at Moon Lake?
You must be talking about the wall safe. That was Willie's. He was a guy who worked for Mickey.
Willie, as in William Akers. What can you tell me about him?
He was Mickey's most trusted employee. Mickey treated all his other men like dirt, but not Willie. He honestly liked Willie, respected him, trusted him implicitly.
What can you tell me about Malone's speakeasy?
It was in the basement, right there at Moon Lake. Feds never knew about it, but everybody who was anybody on the East Coast back then, actors, musicians, bankers, politicians, they knew. You weren't big time unless you'd made at least one trip to Moon Lake Mickey's.
That's weird. I'm staying in his old house on Moon Lake, and I haven't seen any sign of a speakeasy.
Course you haven't. You're not supposed to. Only Mickey and Willie knew how to get into the speakeasy from the house. The rest of us had to go in and out the regular way, through the cemetery.
The cemetery?
There was a lock hidden in one of the tombstones in that little cemetery behind the house. You needed a key to unlock it, and when you did, stairs would appear that led to the speakeasy.
Aha. Now it's getting
Do
interesting.
you have any idea how to get into Malone's speakeasy from the house?
I sure don't. That saloon was built using 2 main ingredients, concrete and secrecy. Mickey always bragged that nobody could get in unless he wanted them in, and I do believe he was right. But I'll tell you what, if you send me that picture of me and Mickey, I'll send you my key.
The key to the tombstone? You still have it?
It's in the bottom of my jewelry box. I've come this close to throwing it out 100 times, but it's so small, and the memories it brings back are so big. Well, I just couldn't, as a joke. Mickey had a tombstone made with the name of this federal agent who had it out for him, inscribed on it. That's the one the key unlocks.
William Akers, the guy you call Willie. He wrote about looking for the gold that Malone had supposedly buried on his property at Moon Lake. Do you know anything about that?
The hole in the floor gold heist. Well, I'll be darned.
So it's true? He did bury gold on his property?
Truth be told, when Mickey told me he was the one who pulled off that heist and that he'd buried 20 gold bars at Moon Lake, I didn't believe him. I thought he was making it up. See, Mickey and I were on the outs by then. I thought he was just trying to entice me to come back. But if he told told Willie the same thing. Maybe there's something to the story after all.
Do you have any idea where he might have hidden it?
Afraid not. Mickey was so secretive that the men who completed his house at Moon Lake were not only forbidden to talk about the work they'd done, but they were ordered to leave the state for good, or else. But you know, I think he mentioned a map. Yes. He said he was making a treasure map in that... the dogs. Something about those dogs of his.
They had something to do with a map?
He said he was making a treasure map, and that he was also having paintings done of each dog. He made it sound like one thing had something to do with the other, like he was giving me some big important clue. But I just figured he was playing games, trying to lure me back with mystery and intrigue. I told him to buzz off. Maybe I shouldn't have.
William Akers had some kind of map in the back of his journal. Do you think that's the treasure map Malone mentioned?
It's possible. But knowing Mickey, he probably made the map so obscure that poor Willie couldn't make heads or tails of it. Mickey loved to tease people like that. Made him feel smart. But feeling smart isn't the same as being smart. He died in prison, you know. No family, no friends. That's about as stupid as you can get.
Did Malone say what he was going to do with those paintings of his dogs?
He said he was going to hang them in the speakeasy, and I'm sure that's precisely what he did.
Can you remember anything about Malone's dogs that might suggest where he hid the gold?
I stayed away from his dogs. They made me nervous, always jumping around, barking at this or that. The only one I liked was, what was his name? Iggy! I liked Iggy because he was nice and quiet. He just lay on the porch all day and didn't make a peep.
It's been fun talking to you.
I know.
Wow, I got a lot of information from that lady. So I got to mail that picture back to her, and then she'll mail a key back to me, and then hopefully I'll be able to get into the speakeasy. So they'll be getting interesting. Yeah, there was a lot of talk in there, so I'm not really into a lot of that, but I get a lot of information though. So let's see. What do I got? Oh, I'm going to call Sally back here.
Hello?
Hey, Sally, it's Nancy.
Nancy, hi. How's it going?
I'm afraid I have some bad news. I had your well water tested, and according to the health department, it contains a very high level of arsenic.
Arsenic? Somebody poisoned my well?
Maybe, maybe not. The health department is running more tests. When you bought the house, did anyone mention a problem with the well?
No. And it doesn't matter. I love that house, and I am going to live in it. If that well's bad, I'll just dig another one. At least I will when I know for sure why bad things keep happening there. You are going to figure that out, right, Nancy?
You bet I am.
I knew I could count on you.
Were you ever told that Mickey Malone supposedly buried a small fortune in gold bullion somewhere on your property and that it has yet to be found?
Is this a joke?
Malone supposedly stole a bunch of gold bars off a train and buried them at Moon Lake. You never heard about that?
No. Could it be true?
Well, if somebody thinks it's true, that may be the reason they're trying to frighten you off your property.
How did you hear about it?
I found the journal of a man named William Akers in a safe in your cellar. He was one of Malone's closest associates. Ever hear of him?
Never.
In the paperwork that you had to wade through when you bought this property, do you recall ever coming across the name Vivian Whitmore?
No, I sure don't. Who's she?
A close friend of Mickey Malone's, or so it would seem.
Her name wasn't anywhere on the deed. I know that.
Talk to you later.
Thanks again, Nancy.
Okay, that's enough talking for now. I think I'm going to head back over to the ranger station and mail that picture. So that's what I'm going to do next. So that lady, Vivian, said that you have to go to the cemetery to get into the speakeasy. So that's going to be interesting. But I got to get that key back from her, so we'll see what happens.
Hello again, Miss Drew. Am I in for another interrogation?
I'd like to mail this photo to the woman in Las Vegas. Can you do that for me?
As always, I'm here to serve, Miss Drew. Just give it to me, and I'll take care of it. I'm sure she'll be very pleased to get this back.
Thanks for all your help.
Always a pleasure.
Okay, well, I think that's pretty much all I can do right now. I'll just end this video here pretty quick. And hopefully in the next video I'll be able to get that key back, so we'll see. Yeah, looks like I pretty much covered everything up to this point. So I think I'll save it here, and we'll see you in the next video.